show up now?
Mm. Connecting streaming software to go live. Views. Look, it's working. Oh, we're good.
Good.
Mic check 1 2. We're doing an exclusive live Massive Action podcast. Oh. What was that? What was that one?
That one was one of the default ones.
Nice. Okay.
Tell them who you are.
What?
Tell them who you are.
Stan Medina. Does it finish clapping by itself or it?
I stopped it.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Let's get started here. Let me see. If you're watching us on Instagram, big shout out to you, man. We should be good here. Chat's open. The chat's open on YouTube. So if anybody has any questions on YouTube, they can ask any questions. We're also live on Instagram. If you have any questions, the Massive Action podcast is directed to help technicians, customizers, shop owners get to that next level, get over those obstacles, and just be able to provide, man, for their family, and do something great with the talent they've been given. So let's get into it. We have intro music.
No, but we should.
Let's get it. What do we got going on, Aaron?
Um, Lots of painting stuff that we're going to talk about
Yeah.
today. We're going to be talking about getting a clean paint job, tips and tricks for wet finish, pearl, base coats, Kandy.
Nice. Let's do it, man. I mean,
All right. You're the expert.
a little bit about myself. If you're not already if you're not familiar with who we are, is my name is Stan Medina. We have Certified Collision Works, but we also we also help technicians and shop owners get to the next level and overcome obstacles that they deal with every day. Right. So I started off my career. I'm not gonna go a lot of detail into like uh, the details of my career or anything like that. But the reason why I want to share this is just to say that, I do have credibility and background experience on custom painting, customizing, starting a business from scratch, overcoming those obstacles. And so if I can share anything with y'all that will help y'all get to the next level, I'm gonna drop those bombs and I'm gonna, make it happen. So let's get into it. My man Aaron, he's my co-host today. And Aaron, man, he just brings the bombs. Like he asks us the hard questions. He wants to figure out how can we, share some things that technicians are gonna be able to use and implement and become game changers.
All right.
Let's get into it.
Oh. So let's assume that these people are technicians, right? And they've been working for a little bit, so they know the setup of a paint booth and the basics of it.
Yeah.
What other tips or tricks do you have to make sure that the paint job is clean?
Depending on what you're trying to do, right? So you can. There's a couple of things, and I guess let's talk about. I'm going to talk about how to get a clean paint job if you're, painting in the garage.
Mm-hmm.
If you're painting in a booth or if you're painting in the open shop, right? There's a couple of things you can do, and let's just say you're gonna do a regular paint job, right? Base coat, clear coat. What you could do is you can go ahead and you can seal it, like you put a sealer on it, right? You can shoot a couple coats of base, and you can let that dry, and you can actually tack that base down. That you can tack the base down, and it'll actually kind of take all the nibs off and any imperfections. You can wipe it down, blow it off real good again. You don't really want to use a solvent on it. You want to probably use more of like a wet rag or like a water-based solvent. And then you want to give it a couple more coats of base, and then you can clear it. To get like a really, if you're trying to do like a show finish on this vehicle and you don't want to do too much buffing, a common mistake that a lot of technicians or shop owners will do is they'll paint a car, they'll clear it about 5 times, and then they're trying to block it out and buff it out. One of the things you can do is you can clear the car, 4 or 5 times, but block it with like a 320. Block it with a 320, or you can even DA it with a 320, just to get a real flat surface. And then what you want to do on top of that is you want to put, like, it's called a flow coat. The flow coat are basically just two really thin coats that you put over the finish. And what they do, man, is they just give it like a real high gloss finish to it. Whenever we would do custom painting, we would call it breaking necks. You know what that means? Like, huh?
Watching it drive by.
Yeah, doing. So whenever your ride is like wet, and you got it right, people are gonna be breaking necks. And you don't want to have to do a bunch of color sanding and buffing, because the thing with the color sanding and buffing is, like, if you're not good at buffing, what's gonna happen is you're not gonna get the deep shine that you're trying to get out of that buffing, because there's still gonna probably be scratches in it. So buffing is like a really important part in the whole painting process, because if you're not buffing it right, and you don't know what to look for, it's gonna dull back out. It's not gonna have that really wet look to it. That's some tips on how to get like a cleaner paint job. You could like wet the floor down. You could, depending on just really tape it up real good. I mean, really tape it up real good. If you're using a booth, and I know sometimes, like, what we'll do is, like, we'll base the vehicle, and then we can kind of clear it like in different parts. Like you can break it down and clear it in parts if you want like a wetter. You can clear the doors laying down. If you want to take the doors off, stuff like that. But you can do a bunch of different things.
Let's talk about pearls.
Pearls?
Yes.
Pearls are not really too common like they used to be back in the day, because now they have a lot of different flakes and stuff that you can use that they dry a lot faster. So back in the day, like, if you wanted to add, I mean, still to this day, if you wanted to put like flake patterns, you would have to spray the flake with the clear, or spray with some binder, and then you have to clear over it to give that buildup. Now they sell some flake bases that are pretty simple to apply. But I mean, pearls, you really don't see a lot of pearls anymore like you used to. I know one thing that was really popular back in the day where people would put like a violet pearl over black, and it gives it like a real deep look to it. But the thing with the pearls too, like, if you're not, in order for you to get a really nice pearl look to it, you got to buff it out really good, or you got to make sure that you re-clear it and it's like glass finish. There was a clear coat. So House of Color makes a clear coat. So there's different kind of clear coats, right? There's some clear coats that they don't get hard. Like, it takes a couple of days for them to really get solid hard, right? And there's some that don't, they get hard real instantly. And the difference is they have a dry time that allows you to color sand and buff it, because there's some clears that they'll get really hard and they're hard to buff out. But one thing that we would do is we would, like, any custom paint job that we will do, or any kind of show job that we want to do, We'll go ahead and clear it multiple times. We'll block it out, and then we'll put two coats on top of that. But before we cleared it, we would sand it, and we would put it in the sun. And what the sun would do is it'll dry out everything that's all because now you sanded it so the it's like skin. The
Hmm.
pores are open, so everything all the vapors are getting released, and so that material is drying. And what that does, that prevents a dieback. It prevents the clear from dying back. And the reason why you get dieback is because you're applying too much material and you're not letting it dry between times, or the clear that you're using it's taking too long to dry. And so one of the ways you can eliminate by that is like sanding it after you clear coat it, sand it, put it in the sun for like a day or so. It's gonna dry it out real good. Bring it back in. You can go over it again with like 2,000, 1,000. Mask it back up. You don't want to use the old masking. You want to remask it. Remask the whole thing again, and then just give it like some nice clear, dude. Man, that's a shit right there.
Um,
That's how we would do that gloss. Like we would do that gloss. Like a lot of the man. Whenever I would do any kind of custom stuff like that, we had our shop. When I first started, like shit, I was like probably like 21 or 22. Our shop was the road to our shop was a caliche road, and there was other shops down the road. So when people would drive by, all that caliche dust would pick up. But we still had some of the cleanest paint jobs because you know I would make sure that we re-clear them. I would make it's called a flow coat. Make sure that we would block them out. Uh, you know, Making sure that we clear things in sections. Um, and we tore it up in the shows.
what's your process just for a normal paint job?
I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, if you're gonna do like a normal paint job, the main thing is like the prep work.
Hmm.
You got to make sure it's prepped right. Uh, any like small dents or anything. I know like if you're gonna do like a black vehicle, one thing that we would do is like whenever we had a vehicle that had like a lot of body work and we wanted to make sure it was straight, we would paint it and then we'll see if there's any imperfections and then we'll block it out and then we'll repaint it. A lot of people don't do that. I mean, but that's just if you want to get like a straight glass finish. There's ways of doing that as well.
What about candy paint jobs?
The candy, I mean, there's a couple of things that you can do on candy. Like what color? Like maybe like apple red or
Yeah.
so. Like uh, let's say you're gonna do an apple red, right? Okay. One of the things that you don't want to do is you don't want to do apple red over silver, because it's gonna fade. It's gonna fade real quick. Okay. Uh, it's just the way the reds are. And silver's real bright. What you can do is you can actually tint the silver with the candy concentrate, and it'll make like a pink base, right? That helps because it will help the candy from not fading. Also, too, you want to make sure that you're using like a high UV protective clear. That's a big deal right there because the clear coat actually helps prevent the candy from fading. And a lot of guys that aren't familiar with you see your mic?
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? Mic check 1 2, right? I know.
Still going.
I can still hear you.
I still hear yours.
It's all good.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll
Uh,
figure it out next episode.
yeah. If y'all can hear us good on the Instagram and on the YouTube, give us a thumbs up. We're just getting like some feedback in our headphones, but we'll keep rocking with it. If you have any questions on the Instagram, like, hey man, give me some questions, man, and I can help you out if you're dealing with anything customer related or getting your shop off the ground. How to transition from technician to shop owner, how to market your custom shop or whatever you're trying to do. Let me know, and we can get into that. But back to the candy thing, a lot of uh, a couple of tricks you could do with the candy is you don't have to do like the candy over silver, like you can do candy over like like an orange. Like they have candy. They have like a tangerine. It's not a tangerine. It's like an orange base.
Mm-hmm.
But you do want to use the House of Color bases. The House of Color bases are gonna be a lot better than using a regular base coat because they have a lot more metallic and they're mainly made of metallic. But what you can do is you can buy a similar base, maybe in a PPG or DuPont, or if you're using like Nason, or if you're using Shopline or whatever, you can seal it, use a cheaper base just to get all your color down, kind of tack it with the 1,000 or whatever, and then you can go over that with the House of Color base. One thing about the House of Color base though is that it's very sensitive to body work. So like for example, if if you have a door that you did like a repair on it, like a ding, you're gonna want to base that with the ground coat first before you put any House of Color base on it, because the House of Color base is very sensitive to any scratches or any like body work or anything, any like maybe try to feather out like a chip or something. It's gonna be very sensitive to those areas, and you're gonna see it through the candy because they're very high in metallics and pearls. They're not so much pigment, but just metallics and pearls, and that's why you get that nice uh, candy look over it because of the base. A lot of guys that what they'll do is they'll use they won't use the House of Color base, and it won't come out as nice as on the color chip or whatever because they didn't use the color bases like that. Another hack whenever you're doing the candy is you can either use the House of Color clear or you can use a different kind of clear to just all you're doing is basically protecting that candy, right? And so by protecting that candy, you can go back and you can add like a House of Color clear on top of that because the House of Color clear is also very sensitive to the candy. So like if you shot all your candy and maybe you allow it to dry too much, and then you come back over with the House of Color clear, it's gonna react. Like it's gonna react, and it's gonna be very hard to fix that reaction. So one way to avoid that is use a different, like just use a regular urethane clear, just to kind of lock in that candy. Once you lock it in and you have no wrinkles on it or anything, then you can come back later with the House of Color clear or whatever clear you want to use. A lot of people don't know about that. A lot of people don't know about the flow coat on the candies.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so it's crazy because like whenever I was younger, uh, I was always into like information, and so I remember I found like some old school custom books on graphics, and then I remember I found out this is way before people were having seminars. That the founder of the House of Color, his name was John something. What look it up, John
House of
Kurowski.
Color.
Yeah, he had a paint seminar,
Oh,
and you can try to look it on your phone.
okay. I was gonna have this pop up, but
What is that?
Google.
Oh, he had a paint seminar, and we went to that seminar, and he was showing us some tips on how to get those candies right. But John something, yeah, I think he sold House of Color.
Founder
Yeah. If you're watching us on Instagram, if you have any questions, man, hit us up with the questions.
John Kamoski.
Yeah, Kamoski. So I actually went to one of his trainings when he was still. I think he passed away, right? Yeah, he had some trainings back in the day. Like I was very young, I went to some of his trainings, and it was pretty cool stuff, man. It was pretty cool stuff. And basically, what he did was he just dropped knowledge on like things they were doing in California. So whenever I learned about those tips of California, uh, man, I just applied them to what I was doing and just kind of started just changing the game.
So if somebody is doing custom paint jobs, how do they charge? Like, how do they know their pricing?
Yeah, so like that was one of the things that really kind of I had to learn quick. What? We need a Red Bull or something.
You should have came prepared.
You know, I know Red Bull's in the studio. We need to get a little cooler.
We gotta hit up Red Bull themselves.
Damn. Uh, to how are you gonna how are you gonna? Nice, my man got his Navy Fed account. Uh, one of the things like that about if you're doing any kind of custom work or fab work is making sure that you're writing accurate estimates on that. And so like if you're doing any kind of custom work, the best thing you can do with that is break it down into like phases. And if you break it down into phases, you actually know where your money's at. For example, like let's say if you're gonna do a '63 Impala, right? They wanted Kandy or whatever. Uh, what you're gonna do is you're gonna do an estimate to get the body work done first. You're gonna do an estimate to do the body work, right? You're gonna do an estimate just for the paint, okay? Uh, if they want to replace the trim and all this stuff, that's a separate estimate. You know, what trim are they gonna order? Are you gonna have to order the trim? Are they gonna have to order the trim or whatever? Maybe you're gonna have to pour the motor out. That's a separate phase. Maybe it's the interior. Maybe it's a system, audio system. So you want to do it in phases. That way you can actually track, how long everything's taking, and you can actually track, where your money's at. Because one mistake that a lot of customizers do or shop owners do is they'll just kind of say, hey, it's gonna be 8,000 to do your car, right? But then maybe they give them half down, so now they have 4 grand, and so maybe they get into the project, but it takes them longer than they thought. They had to buy some extra things, and so now their money's running low, and so because there was no plan in place, they weren't able to execute on that, and so you want to kind of put it to where like, okay, well, I'm gonna do the body work first, and then when I get the body work done, then we're gonna move on to the paint. But this is what I'm gonna charge to do all the body work, and make sure you have a number on that, and how many hours, how much material you need, how much labor time. When you get done with that, then you move on to phase two. And it also just kind of keeps you organized on that project, and it also kind of motivates you because like if hey, we're gonna get done with the body work, and then we're gonna move on to the paint. That's phase two, and we're also gonna receive another payment there. So it's easier. It's easier to manage like that. I know I talked a lot about WebS estimating system, but you can if you take the time and you buy some like invoice books, you can just write everything out. Take some time and just write what everything's gonna cost you, how much time, how much material you're gonna need, and just do it in phases. Do it in phases. So you're not losing your ass on those jobs.
Do you have any advice on what percentage of your equipment to charge for, like the price? That way you're paying off the equipment that you got. Say if you got like a new air compressor.
Yeah. I mean, well, you want to make sure that you're making a profit, and the way you do that is you just break it down into hours, because like if you're just giving like a rough number on a repair, you don't really know how, like in your head you know how long it's going to take you, but you need to put it on paper to actually set a target for yourself. And I mean, you should be making like 60% profit off labor,
Hmm.
because so that's gonna go for your overhead. You should be making that. If you're doing custom work or you're doing fab work, it's probably gonna be more than that. But the thing is, like, you gotta make sure that you're on top of it. You gotta make sure you're on top of it, and if you hire help uh, in your shop, you want to make sure that you're hiring those people to do like the maybe like so for example, if you're the painter, right, or you're the main customizer, you don't want to spend time cleaning the shop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
you want to make sure you're spending the majority of your time customizing.
Hmm.
So if you're gonna hire someone to help you clean the shop, keep it organized. You know, maybe detailing, maybe organizing the parts or whatever. That's gonna be better off hiring someone to do that than trying to hire someone to do the painting or the customizing for you. You know, because you know people are going, if you're doing custom work or you're doing any kind of fab work or anything, people are going to because they like your style of work, and so you need to make sure that you're consistent with that style, and you build a brand from that.
I think that's all we had for today. Unless you want had anything else you want to get into.
Let me know on Instagram if you have any questions, man. If you're running your business out there, any custom questions. We're gonna be going live every Tuesday and answering questions, going into some tips on customizing, running the shop, getting to the next level. Reach out to me on Instagram if we can help. You know, if you're struggling on any areas, man, we can help you. You know, get your shop going. We can help you with the business structure. Even if you're doing custom, man, let us know. We can give you some tips on and pointers on how to change the game and make some money. Well, we're out till next time, guys. Massive Action Podcast.